Today I bring you an absolute banger of a video that is talking about how your environment shapes you. And I'm not just talking about your environment like where you live in, if your house is clean, if you're in a city, if you're in a jungle, if you're by the beach. These things do have an impact on your mind, impact on your life, but that's not what I'm talking about today. Today I'm talking about your environment as in your culture, your social environment, okay? And how that is maybe the biggest easiest, effortless change you can make that will give you the most results. So let me dive right into it. First of all, your environment, your social environment is shaped by your culture. Okay, what is your culture? Your culture is knowledge and experiences that create different beliefs, different values, different symbols, different languages, different everything that is passed down from generation to generation and goes evolving over time with different people's experiences, shaping different beliefs, finding different morals. And this can be whether it can always go to the good side and it can always go to the bad side, right? It varies on people's experiences. And that's why culture isn't a linear thing. It's not just, okay, this is what culture is. No, because it's shaped on different people's experiences. And different people have obviously different experiences, which they go through different things in life, shaping different beliefs. They understand different things. They see things differently. So that's why culture varies. And culture is not just a suggestion of your behavior. Okay, it doesn't just suggest, okay, you should act like this. No, it reinforces that you need to act like this. When you're born into a household of everyone that after they eat, they clean the dishes. After they wake up, they read a book outside. You are going to act accordingly because it's not suggesting. It's not a suggestion that you should be reading a book or you should be cleaning your dishes after you eat. It is a reinforcement. You act because you see everyone else do it. You act why? Hold up. Because you imitate. That is your number one drive for acting. It is imitation. All right? Everything you do is based off of imitating someone, whether it be a close family member, whether it be a bunch of people, society as a whole, whether it be a successful person, someone in power, a leader. Okay, I'm going to dive into all of these things and show you how these things work and how you can use these to your advantage. So first of all, let me start with why we imitate, right? We imitate and it's a survival instinct. It's a survival pattern, okay? We imitate because we want to belong. We want to fit in. We humans are a herd, and historically we understand that people who fit into the culture, fit into society, and collaborate socially have more success, have better outcomes in life. Okay, and we can see this very clearly. For example, we have the whole wolf pack thing, right? A lone wolf is most likely going to die. However, a wolf pack stays together, works together, collaborates to survive, to thrive. Okay, so that is the exact same thing for us wanting to belong. It's a survival strategy, like I said. It is our greatest desire. It has been embedded and rooted into our minds that we have to fit in. That is literally our greatest. Everything we do is to fit in. We want to fit into a group of people who make money. We want to fit into a group of guys who get girls. We want to fit into a group of an elite group of people who are in shape. We do everything we do is to fit in, whether it's for the good, whether it's for the bad. If you smoke weed, if you drink, if you go out, it is because that is your circle and you want to fit into that circle, okay? Why? Because we see fitting in as value. And like I explained, that's a herd mentality, right? And like I said, it can be good and it can be bad. So it can be beneficial, you grow to fit in, right? So you have to elevate your level to fit into the certain group, or it can be disadvantageous, which you compromise to fit in. And unfortunately, this is what happens most of the times, because a lot of the times when you're trying to fit in, it is for an immediate now reward. You see guys getting girls. You see your friends having fun when they smoke weed. You see all of these things. So you want this reward. You act based on reward and you want to fit in to that group to get that reward, right? To be valued, to be have this social approval, right? And unfortunately, a lot of times you're going to compromise to fit in, but that's why you need to shift your environment. That's why I'm making this video, to help you understand how important your environment is and exactly how to switch it. All right? Let me start off right away. First of all, with imitation. We imitate, and it's not just like a social thing. It is literally science. In your brain, you have these specialized cells, specialized brain cells, which are called mirror neurons. And these were discovered, I think, in the 1950s, if I'm not incorrect, by Italian scientists when they were doing experiments on a monkey, reading a monkey's brain waves. And um, when the scientist walked into the room, right, the monkey saw him and he was holding up an ice cream cone and he licked that ice cream cone. And then they saw in the readings that some part of the brain was fired up. Okay. And so they were there and they were like, okay, what just happened? So the guy reading the brain scanner told the guy licking the ice cream, was like, bro, do that again. Do that again. He licked it and it fired up once again. So we understand this because we recognize patterns, right? So we look at these things activate when we see someone doing something and when we do it ourselves. So the mirror neurons are the same neurons that activate when we do it, the action ourselves, but also when someone else does it and we can recognize that action, that movement. Okay, and this works for imitation, but specifically for social incorporation. Okay, this works for empathy, social understanding, right? So it's not just a social thing, it is science. All right, so let me start off right away with the three categories of imitation and the three different types of people we imitate, right? We imitate the people in proximity, so like the close people, your family, your friends. The popularity, so societies like as a whole, many people, a large volume of people, right? And then the powerful people, okay, so the successful and this and that. Why? Because it brings attractiveness, but I'll further explain this, right? So starting off with proximity. Why do we imitate based off of proximity? Because there is trust, right? Friends, we trust our friends. Family, we trust our family. Our coworkers, our roommates. We are just so, we're living such congruent lives, such similar lives, that we trust and we act accordingly, whether it be them to us, whether it be us to them. However, a lot of times one person will have more influence than the other, right? And there's an absolutely shocking study that shows when you have obese or out of out of shape friends, you are 57% more likely to become obese yourself. And this is shocking to me because how many friends do you have that are out of shape? How many friends do you have that don't work out? How many friends do you have that don't have a healthy lifestyle and don't live a healthy lifestyle? The one that you are watching this video because you want to live that. That's what you want to do, right? You have the mentality and the thought that if they do it, I can too. Based off that safety, off that trust, off that, okay, I don't have to go through that trial and error. But that's a big issue because a lot of times your brain is going through trial and error, right? And someone found a solution. It may not be the best solution for it, but they found a solution. And so you're like, all right, they found a solution. Let me do what they do. And it may not be the best one. A lot of times it isn't. But you're not going to go through that trial and error anymore because your brain doesn't want to go through that. It just wants to settle for what works. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it just settles for what works, for whatever can give you that result. Okay, you just haven't experimented through trial and error enough to find the best possible way. Does that make sense? I really hope that makes sense. Okay. Second of all, popularity. We focus a lot on what we can do to fit in socially, on what a lot of people have done, on the trends. Okay, um, for social proof, a lot of times we always do these things because we believe that we need to be valued socially. Like I said here, when we fit in, we are valuable, and a lot of times when we fit in, we kind of try to accentuate fitting in a little bit more because we want to stand out slightly and be even more valued, right? So for popularity, we do it for social proof, safety numbers. Like I said, a lot of people have done it. So we're like, all right, everyone did it. I can do it as well. The numbers provide safety to you. For example, when you go and you see a product on Amazon or wherever you want to order something, you look at the reviews first. You're not actually confident that that is the right one. You base yourself on other people's opinions. And yes, obviously, when you're looking at an item on Amazon, that's fine. But in every other area of your life, in more times than not, is not beneficial for you. Okay, like I'm saying here, it is uncertainty, it is lack of confidence. You're not doing it because you believe it's the right thing. You're just doing it because that's what other people are doing. How many times have you smoked weed? How many times have you drank? How many times have you done non morally correct things that you don't believe are correct simply because other people do it? How many times? And be honest with yourself, because I know I've done it. I know I've done it, right? But you just have to understand that a lot of times you act not because your morals and your values are congruent with that, simply because that's what other people do. Speaking, for example, you start speaking like your friends, you start speaking like the trendy people, you know, you're influenced by society, by social people, right? Pluralistic ignorance. Margot, what is pluralistic ignorance? It is. I'll give you an example of pluralistic ignorance so you can understand, because the definition by itself you may not understand. When you're in a classroom, right, and the teacher asks you a question, everyone's quiet. No one answers. Maybe one or two people. The only certain people are the ones that actually give an answer, because you're afraid to expose yourself. You're afraid to put yourself out there, even though you have the right answer. And how many times have you had the right answer in your mind and someone else answered it for you and you're like, damn, I knew that. I should have raised my hand. How many times does that happen, right? Or at work, your boss asks you something and you're not 1,000% sure and you don't want to mess up. You're afraid to mess up and everyone's just quiet. And then the people that kind of stand out, the more powerful, more successful people, right? The ones that have more influence, they will answer, right? Because they're not afraid of that. And so a lot of times you even know the stuff, but you are not certain. You're very, you're not confident in yourself. And so you just do what everyone else does, which is quiet. Be quiet. And that just keeps you in the gray. You don't stand out. You can't excel. You're going to live a normal life. However, if your environment isn't people that are quiet, it's people that are always trying, always taking risks, always doing this and that. They're just a higher level of this gray. You can excel so much more, right? If everyone is fat in your circle, if the four people in your circle are fat, you're going to be the fifth, right? However, if four people in your circle are fit, always working out, you are more likely to start taking action on healthier habits and getting more healthy results, having healthier behaviors, right? All right. Third one, power. Let me switch here. You imitate people in power, successful people. Why? Because you are chasing that attractiveness of the result, right? You're chasing that success, being fit, being rich, being famous, being powerful, leaders, people that have a high influence on popularity, right? People that a lot of people follow, a lot of people normally act accordingly to what these kind of people do, right? However, you have to select your powerful people, because a lot of people have a lot of influence, a lot of power, a lot of success, but in the wrong eyes for the wrong reasons, right? A lot of people have success, have a lot of attention, which you by nature want attention, right? But it's not for the right reason. So you also have to understand that it has to be a filter within who it is you follow, within why it is you're following these people, right? You aspire to be like them, you imitate because you have an aspiration to not be like them, but to have the same level of reward that they have, the same success, the same outcome that they have. Okay, that is prestige bias. So, and a lot of times we're not just imitating because we believe that they have these amazing values, that they're almighty and successful, right? We do it because a lot of people admire them. It's not because we ourselves see value in them. It is because since a lot of people see value in them, okay, I'm gonna become like them, so a lot of people can see value in me. Does that make sense? Does it like line up? All right. So your thought process in this is it's their reason for success, so it can be mine as well. That's what you think, right? All right, let me give you an overview of all of this that I've just said. And if you need to, look at the video again, understand everything I'm saying, understand not just what I said, but reflect on it, go into depth with it, okay? Because your environment really shapes who you are, okay? And listen, I thought it was just like some mom and dad stuff or some, wise person, whatever, telling you this, and it would just come in through one ear and leave out through the other. But the more I understand how much my environment takes a toll on my behavior. Okay. And a lot of times, sometimes you're the only environment you need. Not everyone is wired the same. Not everyone works the same. Not everyone needs a big amount of people, right? However, your environment, whether you can do it by yourself or not, your environment will enhance your behaviors if it is the right one. But it will also enhance your bad behaviors if it is the wrong one, right? Okay, let me give you an overview. Culture shapes you, like we said, it shapes your beliefs, your values, your customs, your behavior, not by suggestion, but by reinforcement. All right? You act to fit in. You imitate to fit in. Everything you do is for your greatest survival desire to belong, to fit in, because you believe that there is value in fitting in. You want social approval to fit in. All right? Then, lastly, make your environment based on how you desire to be. Fit in with the correct crowd. So you can just remove the going through the process of a bad behavior and gaining bad habits and staying the same or even being worse and getting worse simply by improving your environment. If you enrich in your environment with people who are more where you want to be, with results that are the ones you want to have, it will bring you up. Think about it. Your environment can either be a balloon or an anchor. Okay? It can be a balloon that will pull you up, or it can be an anchor that will bring you down. You select both things pull you somewhere. The balloon either pulls you up and the anchor pulls you down. They both do the same thing. They affect your position. So they're both gonna pull you somewhere, like I said. But one is gonna bring you up, is gonna bring you to a higher place, and one is gonna bring you down. It's gonna bring you down. So that's why environment is crucial for determining your results, determining who you are, shaping you. So selectively choose your environment. Filter the impurities of your environment. And I know it's hard because a lot of times your environment are your friends and your families and even coworkers and roommates that you like, and they're nice presences. You like to be around them because they're fun. But a lot of times that is not enough. And a lot of times these people aren't the best people for you. And no matter how much you like them, no matter how much you like them, you're not going to grow if you're with them. Unless you all start going on this growth path together, which is so rare, I'm sorry to say, but you need to switch your environment. And I've come to realize that. And listen, it's not like you're not going to create more meaningful connections in other environments. You may even create better connections because you're now connecting and relating yourself with people who are aligned with your morals, with your values, with your goals. You don't have to compromise to fit in. You grow to fit in. These people are bringing you up. These people are balloons. They're not anchors. That's that. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I really hope it helps you. And what can I say? Change your environment and change who you are.